DK? DK! You did it! Thanks to you, I'm me again. I don't know how to thank you.
What's up, guys? I hope y'all are having a great day today, just full of so much positivity and happiness, dude, because we are going to be talking about the latest game from Nintendo for the Nintendo Switch 2, which I already know. The Redditors are sharpening their pitchforks and lighting their tiki torches as we speak, because I have committed the mortal sin of buying a Nintendo Switch 2, man. The literal worst thing you can do as a gamer in today's Reddit outrage culture, because not only are you supporting a $450 handheld console that can be bricked if you decide to hack or mod it, but also you're supporting the onset of $80 games. How could you? And well, I just have one message for people who have a problem with me buying the Nintendo Switch 2. You can take a Joy-Con and shove it all the way up your ass. Now that we've settled that, let's go ahead and talk about the game that we are going to be discussing here today, and that, of course, is Donkey Kong Bananza.
Okay, let's jump.
Now, I always add this caveat whenever we talk about a 3D platformer or a particular genre that I personally either don't have much experience in or am not really a fan of whatsoever. And in the case of 3D platformers, I kind of fall into both categories. I never really played 3D platformers growing up, even though I absolutely loved Nintendo. I just played most of their other games, but pretty much my only experience with 3D platformers that I actually enjoyed is the original 3 Spyro games on the PS1, Mario Galaxy 1 and 2 on the Wii, of course, and most recently Astro Bot on the PlayStation 5. Aside from that, I am not a 3D platformer fan whatsoever. I'm not an expert on this particular genre, and generally speaking, I don't really have much fun playing them. Now, of course, going into Donkey Kong Bananza, this was in the back of my mind. I kind of tempered my expectations. Didn't really have high hopes for it whatsoever, but from the very first moment I saw this game, I thought it really did look intriguing. I love the fact that the environment is fully destructible. I love the exploration aspect, the collecting of the gold and everything. I don't know, just something about this game really resonated with me the first time I saw it, despite the fact that it's in a genre that I don't particularly like. And well, after playing this game on stream for about 6 hours last night in one sitting, I can safely say that this is a fantastic game, guys. Like, I had a genuine blast playing this game. And overall, if you're on the fence, TLDR, I would say go pick this up. I mean, obviously, if you have a Nintendo Switch 2, which is the only platform it's available on, you're going to go out and buy this game. And if you do have a Nintendo Switch 2 and you are somehow crazy enough to not go out and buy this game, stop the video right now, go buy it online, go to your nearest retailer, and pick this shit up, man. Do yourself a favor. This is some God's honest, good old-fashioned video game fun that genuinely I don't really think there's a even like close example of something like it out there, at least that I'm familiar with. And overall, like, the 6 hours went by so quickly. Now, I did check my progress in relation to a full playthrough on YouTube, and it looks like I'm about 60 or 70% of the way done with the game. And for the most part, it's not really going to change gameplay-wise, because 3D platformers typically have a pretty, you know, samey gameplay loop throughout the entire game. Now, I have acquired the Ostrich Bonanza mode. I have not gotten the Zebra one yet, so I pretty much experienced everything the game has to offer, at least ability-wise, and the other Bonanza modes are kind of just gimmicky traversal methods, so I don't really feel like I'm missing too much on that front. But keep in mind, I haven't beaten the game yet. I want to be completely open and transparent, because unlike certain YouTubers, I don't like to pretend that I've beaten a game before I actually have done so in order to make a YouTube review. Now, I will be essentially reviewing the game here today because, again, I don't really think much is going to change mechanically or from a gameplay standpoint. I mean, obviously, I haven't experienced the story, but, bro, it's a 3D platformer story with Donkey Kong. I don't really think I'm going to be missing out too much if I don't give you guys a breakdown or overall impressions of the story. That's not the reason why you're playing this game. You're playing this game for the fun factor. You're playing it for the gameplay loop. You're playing it for the exploration, and you're just playing it to have some good old-fashioned fun. And that is the most important thing when it comes to a game like this, which is something that Nintendo, in my personal opinion, at least in recent years, is just completely knocking out of the park in comparison to the competition. Now, granted, with Astrobot, PlayStation looked like it did have some promise, but with all the recent news surrounding them and all the game cancellations and live service slop that they've been trying to pump out, and then you look at Microsoft, what's happening there with Xbox, you know, Nintendo really is carrying the gaming industry on their back these days, and, you know, I don't really think they get enough credit because they have found a formula and they have stuck to it for the better part of 40 years, man. I mean, they are just absolutely knocking it out of the park. In my humble opinion, you may agree to disagree, but Donkey Kong Bananza is no exception to that rule. So I'm just going to give you guys a brief kind of breakdown of my overall thoughts on this game. This is not going to be like a super in-depth review because what you see is kind of what you get. If you like the gameplay that you see on screen while you're listening to me talking, you're probably going to want to go pick this game up. It's really just that simple. Now, the first part that I do want to talk about is the destruction. Now, this, of course, was the selling point for me and what made it stand out from the typical 3D platforming experience. Now, if you're familiar with games like Just Cause, the Red Faction games where you have destructible environments, I absolutely love. I think there's something so satisfying about being in a sandbox and just being able to blow up everything in your path. And well, Donkey Kong Bananza is basically that on steroids because instead of using guns and explosives, you can just punch a hole through a fucking mountain, bro. Like, this game is awesome, guys. It is so much fun. The gameplay loop is just, for lack of a better word, intoxicating. You will just be having so much fun smashing everything in your path, picking up the gold that drops from the different environmental elements that you hit. It's so fun, bro. I genuinely had a blast playing this game. And a lot of the time, I would just find myself randomly wandering around, punching a hole in anything and everything I could find endlessly, and just collecting as much gold as I could, not even paying attention to the actual objective, what I'm supposed to be doing at that particular moment. I really can't put it into words. Like, you're probably looking at it on screen right now. It's fun. It is so much fun, man. The destruction is the #1 selling point for this particular game. Like, genuinely. If you enjoy sandbox destruction, this is a game you need to go out and play. I cannot tell you the last time I've had this much fun in a power fantasy-like game, and genuinely, I would consider this probably the best Nintendo game I have played probably in the last decade, if things continue as they are going right now. I'm genuinely enjoying this game just for that aspect. It just scratches the itch that I guess I have been missing out on for all these years, and if you're like me, you're gonna love this particular game. Now, pretty much everything you look at is destructible. There are, you know, some different surfaces or environmental elements that are not destructible, but for the most part, I'd say it's like 80% at least is destructible, and you can actually punch through the ground pretty deep. There is like boundaries, whether it's below you, above you, or to the sides, or like a toxic sludge or something that'll start seeping through the floor if you go too deep. So there are boundaries. It's not like limitless destruction, but the range of the destruction is actually incredibly impressive. And once you load into a particular zone in this game, everything saves. Like, every punch that you've made into the ground from the moment you enter into that area to the moment you leave is saved in that particular instance of the game. It is so cool, man. Like, it's really mind-blowing to think this is a handheld console that's doing this, and overall, it's just so much fun, bro. There's collectibles scattered all throughout the map. You know, gold randomly generates from you punching into the earth or punching a rock or a tree or whatever it might be, and you can pick it up and collect it, which is used for progression and unlocking different things in the environment. There are treasure chests that randomly spawn throughout the different terrain that you're punching through. I mean, it's a lot of fun. You can collect fossils. There are, you know, the bananas that you have to find, and you can take the conventional approach of solving a puzzle or finding a hidden path, or you can just punch a hole straight through the earth and dig your way down to the whatever item you're trying to get to. So really, there's so many different options, and it is a true sandbox experience in a lot of ways that a lot of modern sandbox games could learn from. You really do have a lot of freedom, and that to me is the part I'm enjoying the most, is just going around finding a bunch of random shit and having a great time doing it. Now, I mentioned some of the things that you're able to find in the environment environment, like the fossils, the bananas, the gold, the chest, you know, things like that. But you also are going to encounter these like little challenge arena type activities, kind of similar to the shrines in Breath of the Wild or like a challenge stage in Mario. But yeah, I mean, it's pretty par for the course if you're familiar with the Nintendo format. You go inside, you either have to collect 1 or 3 bananas by doing various tasks. That could be defeating enemies, that could be platforming, that could be destroying an entire structure in a limited amount of time. There's really a nice variety there, and they're all pretty much completable in about 30 seconds to a minute long, so they don't really overstay their welcome, and there's a healthy number of them scattered across the various environments. Some are more obvious than others, some are pretty well hidden, and you'll have to like drill down into the earth to actually find them, so that's also pretty cool. But each one gives you a set number of bananas based on the activity that you're going to be doing, and overall I do like that aspect. Now granted, those are a lot more linear and they're more heavily, I would say, centered around the traditional 3D platformer experience than what you're going to encounter in the exploration areas, but it is a nice change of pace from just punching a hole in everything that you see. And don't worry, a lot of them still have plenty of destruction in them as well, but they're definitely the more traditional 3D platformer like experience. Like, think the challenge stages in Astrobot or in a traditional 3D Mario game, like I kind of mentioned. But yeah, they offer a nice little breather from, you know, doing the main quest or main progression or whatever it is you happen to be doing, or just exploring at that particular moment. It's a good change of pace to just spice up the experience every once in a while. And again, they're very, very short, so you're not going to be spending a ton of time doing them, which personally I did like that particular aspect, because in the case of Breath of the Wild with the shrines, they did kind of drone on for a little bit too long at times, depending on which one you're doing or how long it took you to figure out the puzzle. I don't really think you're going to have that problem with Donkey Kong in this particular case, but yeah, overall, really enjoying that particular aspect as well. Now, when it comes to the main, I guess, objectives, it's pretty much your standard open exploration zone 3D platformer gameplay loop. You're going to be interacting with 3 or 4 items in a particular environment in order to activate a doorway, lower a water level, get rid of some poisonous smog, or whatever it might be. You know, you get the point. It's a very, very cookie cutter 3D platformer experience with the destruction elements on top of it, which really provide the unique aspect of Donkey Kong Bananza that separates it from the rest. And I definitely did find myself really enjoying it, even if it is fairly simple. I never felt like I was doing the same thing over and over again. It never started to feel tedious. It never started to feel like I was doing the same thing over and over again, just in a slightly different setting. I think each individual area is visually and mechanically distinct enough to where you're going to feel like you're getting a nice variety as the game progresses. And overall, in my 6 hours, I genuinely enjoyed pretty much every single moment that I was playing it, which generally is not the case in this particular genre. So kudos to the team over at Nintendo for this absolutely fantastic 3D platformer, man. Now, I think we talked about the gameplay. I don't really have too much to add. I mean, of course, yeah, you can earn upgrades by collecting the bananas. They either increase your punch strength, you can increase like the ability of the sonar that you have, where Donkey Kong claps his hands and it detects items that are hidden in the terrain up to a certain distance. You can increase the amount of time that you spend in Bonanza mode. You can increase the amount of Bonanza charge you get from how much gold you pick up. Like, it's very, very run-of-the-mill, standard, you know, slight upgrades here and there that you'll notice a difference, but it doesn't dramatically change the way you're playing the game, which I think is good. It more so relies on your skill and knowledge as a player in order to feel the true upgrade, which is the amount of time you invest in the actual game. Now, overall, I do think the collectible offering is good. I've enjoyed collecting every single one of them. The fossils, I believe, are unique items. The gold that is scattered throughout the terrain is randomly generated, so every time you go in and out, you're able to pick up as much gold as you want, which is cool. The bananas are scattered throughout the map. You can either get them in like the shrine-like activities that I mentioned earlier. They can just be hidden randomly across the map. They can be buried underground. They can be in a cave. They can be in a house, and you have to smash your way to them. So there's a lot of variety here, and you're going to be having a great time just going off the beaten path and finding a bunch of these different collectibles. And it does feel rewarding when you're actually able to upgrade. So it's not like the upgrades are completely unnoticeable. They do actually give you a pretty decent feeling of accomplishment, but you're just going to have fun finding stuff, to be completely honest, man, because like, for example, the fossils you can use to go and purchase different pieces of apparel for like Pauline and Donkey Kong, which give you stat boosts. So you can buy ties or pants for Donkey Kong. You can buy Pauline outfits that give you stat boosts that are pretty significant. So that aspect is really cool too, and it does really reward you for going and exploring. And you'll just find random things, like you'll step on a random block, for example, and it'll turn into solid gold, and you have to smash it, and it gives you a bunch of gold for doing so. Like, there's just so many small touches everywhere that you can really tell that the people making this had a lot of passion and care in doing so, and everything feels very, very deliberate, even in a game that involves you smashing through everything that you see, which I think is kind of cool, personally. Now, one thing I will say I'm not the biggest fan of is the Pauline singing when you use the Bananza mode. I think it does kind of get a little obnoxious at times, but overall, it's a very, very minor gripe. No pun intended, I know. You know, we're not even gonna go there. It doesn't matter. But yeah, the Pauline singing does kind of get a little grating at times. But it's not anything bad. The rest of the soundtrack, though, I think is actually really good. Like the ambient music and the different music you find in the environments, I think is pretty well done, and I did enjoy that aspect. Nintendo typically does a fantastic job with their music. We don't really need to dwell on that too much. Like, if you know modern Nintendo or Nintendo in general, they pride themselves on having some of the best soundtracks in gaming, and this one, I won't say it's one of my favorite, but I do actually like it a lot. I do enjoy the generic stage music that they use in the background or the different boss themes you encounter. The only part I don't really like is the singing aspect, which again, very, very minor complaint, no pun intended. Now, the story, you know, I'm not even going to get into that. No point in spoiling it for the people who care. Just know it's very run-of-the-mill 3D platformer. Not really anything special. Donkey Kong's trying to get to the core of the earth in order to get back to the surface, essentially, and stop this evil mining company from stealing all the bananas, and very, very basic stuff here. I'm sure most people are not playing this for the story, but hey, if you're out there, I'm not going to spoil it for you. You know, have fun, enjoy it. It does what it's supposed to do. It justifies Donkey Kong being in that particular situation and allows you to do cool shit as a result of that. And really, that's all you can ask for in a game like this. But I don't really think there's much else to say in regards to Donkey Kong Bananza, guys. If you have a Switch 2, you're going to be picking this game up. If you're not, you're an idiot, and you need to go get your head checked out. This is a must-own title for the Nintendo Switch 2, and if you're on the fence of whether you should buy a Nintendo Switch 2, I mean, personally, I would generally recommend doing so. I think Nintendo is one of the last few publishers out there that consistently releases great games, and you know, for the entire life cycle of the Switch 2, they're going to be doing exactly just that. Mario Kart World and Donkey Kong Bananza have already been a fantastic taste of what's to come, and I think it's only going to keep getting better from here on out. So again, I don't really think there's much else to say. I think this is a must-buy, personally. If you are a fan of 3D platformers, I don't know why you would even be considering buying this game or not. Go buy it. You're gonna have a great time. Even if you're not a fan of 3D platformers like myself, I think you're gonna have a great time, and I absolutely love the destructible element of this game. Like I mentioned before, intoxicating is the word I would use, because time will vanish while you were playing this game. Like, I played it for 6 hours. It felt like maybe 1 or 2, bro. Like, just so much fun. I cannot recommend this enough. This is a must-own title for the Switch 2. I do actually like it better than Mario Kart World. So as things sit right now, this is my front runner for Game of the Year 2025. I'm really enjoying it that much. Now, maybe something will change in my last remaining hours or whatever, but I highly doubt it, guys. If you're on the fence, go pick this up. If you're trying to get a Switch 2, or you have the opportunity to pick up a Switch 2 and you're debating waiting, I mean, yeah, that's an entirely different topic, but I would say this game should definitely nudge you in the direction of going ahead and buying the console if it's something that you want to experience in the immediate future. So with that said, guys, you know, I don't really want to put a number on it because I haven't finished it yet, but yeah, very, very, very strong recommendation to go out and buy it based on what I've played thus far. So yeah, let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Have you been playing Donkey Kong Bananza on your Switch 2? What are you thinking of the game so far? Is it something you're planning on on picking up? Are you still trying to get your Switch 2? Let me know in the comment section below, and make sure to drop a like on this video if you did enjoy. Just a quick little slop review for you when I got some downtime from work. So yeah, I need to get back in the habit of uploading more frequently. I'm gonna like actually try, okay? Even if it's just slop dog shit videos, I'm going to try to put out more consistent content. I need to get my passion back for making content and for gaming in general. So, you know, it's gonna be a slow, long grind, but hopefully I can stick with it. So anyway, guys, I really do appreciate you guys checking out the video and for all the recent support as well on the channel. I really do appreciate it. You guys are the fucking best. So with that shit said, I will catch you guys next time.